recording. Oops, don't do that. Stupid. And guess I gotta do that. Go live. Go live. Aren't you going live? Going live. Okay. We are going to let a few people see that we're live, and then we'll start in just a minute here. The show tonight is our mechanic show, and we're going to have call-ins, and you'll be able to call in and discuss issues with your car, and hopefully we can help you along the way. So I'm just going to go on to Facebook now while we're waiting for people to come on, and I'm going to make sure we're live because it would be really nice if this was working. And we are live, I think. Yes, we're live. Hey everybody, we're live, and we're going to start our show here right now. And we're back. Hey everybody, we are tonight with Juan on Get Under the Hood Mechanic Show. How are you doing this evening, Juan?
Good, yeah.
I'm doing great. We, you know what? Since we're live and I'm trying to figure everything out here in the beginning, I have to actually turn your camera down to you. Down to you. Down to you, Juan. Down to you. Oh, well, you're never going to be on camera tonight. Come on. Okay. I'll manually do it then. There you are. You are now on. All right. So, hi everybody. Here we go. Tonight's a live show. We're going to have call-ins here in a minute, and the phone number will be 386-251-8100. That's 386-251-8100, and you'll be able to call in, ask questions, and so forth. But before we get into that, how are you doing this evening?
Good, yeah.
I'm doing great. You have a long day at work?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I heard you work a lot of hours. You work up in Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
So it's a ride for you to get back here, get here on time, and for us to get on the air. In fact, you've only been here about 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's usually, it's about an hour drive.
So what type of work did you do today? What'd you work on?
Well, today I'm mostly just a manager, so I got to watch my guys and make sure that they're staying on task.
Yeah.
But, we got stuff going on from engine repairs to body repairs. Some stuff is simple, just, replacing seats and windshields and trucks that are getting ready. Or we even have a paint booth, so I got guys that are over there at the paint booth sanding the trucks down. And
you can get an entire truck into your paint booth?
Yes.
Wow. That's a paint house.
Yeah. So right now we have to drive to another location. They're trying to transfer that paint booth to our location, but the way it's looking right now, it's probably going to stay where it's at for another year.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a huge paint booth. Well, if anybody has questions, we are here. We are going to continue the conversation, and if you want to call in, it's 386-251-8100. 386-251-8100. We are live and accepting calls. If you have any issue with your car and you would like to get some answers on whatever might be wrong with your car, we can try and give them to you. So what the other episode, actually this is episode 2. So episode 1, you discussed the vehicles that you really liked. Well, my vehicle was not one of them. But I have an 07 Chevy 3500 Express van with the death wobble. When I hit the brakes, the front end shakes back and forth like it wants to throw you off the road. Above 40 miles an hour. Under 40 miles an hour, drives fine. So one of these days I got to get you out there and we're going to figure out why my van is acting crazy. With the death, if you Google it, you find Chevy Express death wobble.
Yeah, and you're fine. Probably not an answer for what you got going on. Nobody gives you a definite solution.
No, I can't
really,
find
you gotta
one.
Jack it up and check the whole front end out. You probably have more than one thing going on. Could be brakes plus maybe a steering stabilizer that's just shot, and once it starts vibrating, the pedal vibrates through the whole truck. It could be kingpins, but I'm thinking, well, in a car sense, it'd be ball joints.
Ball joints. Yeah. Well, I just had all of the ball joints replaced maybe And I didn't have the death wobble before, but I had all the ball joints replaced 5 months ago, and shortly after, the death wobble started.
Did you have it aligned after you had the ball joints done?
Do you want the honest answer?
Yeah.
I haven't had a day to put the van up. So no, but it's not pulling either way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure that it's really out of alignment. Could be, but the tires aren't wearing really, and it seems to be okay. People, if you want to call in and ask some questions, phone number is 386-251-8100. 386-251-8100. We also used to have, and now one of your favorite cars, not the model I had, but one of your favorite cars was the BMW. Mine was a BMW 528i, which if it made it to the end of the driveway without costing me $100 in repairs, I was happy. But it was the worst vehicle, really, that I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was terrible. $27,000 in repairs in the 2 years that we owned it.
Wow.
But fortunately, we had the extended warranty.
Yeah. And you bought it new?
Oh, no. I bought it with somebody else's issues.
Yeah.
I bought it from a place down in, I won't say where, but I bought it, and 3 days later, it was leaking oil through the valve covers. They apparently have plastic valve covers, and they had put the wrong bolts with the wrong torque in it and cracked the valve covers. So it was just a never-ending issue.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you don't buy BMWs new, you're always buying somebody else's headache.
Yeah, I bought their migraine.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Now I have a what is it? A Chrysler 300C.
Mm-hmm.
What a beautiful car that is. That rides like a champ, drives like a champ. Somebody's calling in. Good. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, Alan and Juan, it's Chrissy. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Hanging in there, but I saw that you were doing the live with Juan tonight, and I did want to ask you a question because my son's been driving my Dodge Journey, and every once in a while, when he goes to turn on the car, the air will only go on defrost or down at the floor. It won't come through the AC vents right away. It takes a second for it to pop on, or like he has to drive around for a while for the AC to come through. And I was wondering if he knows what that might be.
Sounds like you might just have there's an actuator that controls where the air will come through. It could just be failing,
Okay.
or something like I've seen where the controls actually are going bad and they're setting a signal for it only to do, you're turning the knob for it to go to blow out the vents towards you, and it could just be setting a signal just for it to blow out like at your feet or at your defrost only. Without looking at it.
Yeah, it's so weird because like some days he turns on the car, it's fine, and then some days that he has to like drive around for 20 minutes before it kicks on. The AC can come through the main dashboard, like all the AC vents. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's probably like a bad actuator that controls the doors for where it's going to blow through. That's just not responding.
How much does something like that cost?
It varies. Sometimes actuators are like $50. I've seen them as high as $200-$300 just for the part.
Okay.
If it was my car, it'd be the $300 one.
If it was I have a feeling just with my luck lately, it'll be the $400 or $500 one that no one ever heard about.
Yeah, they made it for 1 year.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, thank you for
You
calling.
all have a great show, and I'll keep listening.
Awesome.
All right, see you.
We'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Oh, that actually came through loud and clear. We finally got the whole call-in phone system figured out, I think. So the phone number to call is 386-251-8100, 386-251-8100. I have an AC problem in my van, too. My van has 352,000 miles on it, so, it's beginning to argue with me a little bit. But right now, with my AC, it sometimes comes on. And so I took the low-pressure switch? Or I took the low-pressure switch off and jumped it.
Yeah.
And it didn't help. So
you're probably either low on Freon most likely. It can, even if you can have a car have no leaks, and just because of the age, you have seals that sometimes just seep out a little bit, and the Freon just
Gets too low.
and then you just have to usually hook up a gauge to it. You could even buy, like, from AutoZone or Advance, the little cans.
Right.
They have the gauges on. You can hook it up, and it'll tell you right when you have the AC running, if you're low. And you can usually fill it up. Sometimes if it's really low, then you got a leak.
Yeah, well, I did have a leak. The Schrader valve on the high pressure hose or pipe was leaking, but that got replaced. But I don't know that it's not still leaking a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got AC issues. I've got death wobble issues. And there's 3 knobs on my dashboard for the AC. There's the fan speed, there's temperature, and there's choose between AC and floor. It's the actuator switch, like she was just talking about. And the middle knob is missing, and I can't find a replacement knob. They're all the wrong size.
Yeah. Junkyard.
Yeah, I've tried. I got that one van, they made that, 2 months with different size knobs or something. But one of them I super glued because it was getting loose. I put super glue in it, so hopefully that one will never go bad. Anyway, the phone number to call is 386-861. No, it isn't. It's 386-251-8100. I almost gave my phone number, 386-251-8100. If you have a car issue and you want to know one way or another to try to fix it, give us a call, 386-251-8100, and Juan will try to help you with your car issues. So what was the biggest issue with the vehicles you were working, or that you were hold on, we have a caller. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, how are you tonight?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, listen, I got a question for your guest there, your speaker.
Sure, go ahead.
I see a lot of people. Okay, can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I got to turn. I got to turn your guy off. Okay, now I can do it because it's slightly delayed. Okay, I see a lot of
you can't listen to
advertising.
Can't listen to the Facebook and your phone at the same time. We're about a 10-second delay.
Yeah. I see a lot of advertising for these devices, so when your check engine light comes on, for you personally, instead of going to the mechanic, and to check it with an app. Is this something you recommend, or you think that's just a bunch of garbage out there?
A lot of it's not bad, especially if you just want to know what it is so you have an idea when you go to a shop to repair it. It doesn't hurt to have it, especially if it's something simple, like, an oxygen sensor code popping, or like a misfire code popping up. They tell you almost pretty much the same thing. There's ones out there that only give you like just basic generic. Then they have other ones that literally record everything and you can review it, just like if you had a scan tool like the shops have that shows live data. This way, if you're not sure if it is a sensor, it'll show you the readings of that sensor and you can see if it's cutting in or out. It doesn't hurt to have them. I mean, most of those that you can buy now, I think, are like anywhere from like $50 to $100 on like Amazon. It doesn't hurt to have one.
That answer your question, Mike?
All right. Well, thank you. That answers the question. Thanks for the information.
All right.
Have a good evening, guys. I hope you get more call-ins out there.
Yeah,
and
we hope so.
Now I got to turn the Facebook back on so it can catch up.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.
And we have an open phone line. The number's 386-251-8100, 386-251-8100. Call in if you have a issue with your car and you'd like to see if Juan here can help you out with it. Chrissy has said that I should leave my van out in the next hurricane. Thanks, Chrissy. But yeah, actually, for 352,000 miles, what do I have to complain about?
Yeah.
Nothing. Although I'd like to make it hit a million miles. We'll see.
Yeah, you should be fine. What motor's in it?
It's a 350.
Okay. So it's like a
It's a
Five-
four something.
It's a force. Ah, okay.
Yeah, but it just, I mean, it may not get the best maintenance in the world. It may not get on-time oil changes, but it has never failed me. And I've had it for a number of years. It's just never failed me. Has issues, but it's never failed me.
Yeah.
So, phone number again is 386-251-8100, 386-251-8100. If you have a car issue, truck issue, any kind of motor issue, I guess. Do you work on motorcycles?
No.
No motorcycle. Don't call if you have a motorcycle. Other than that, any car issue that you have, give a call in and we'll see if we can't help you with the issues. We're live tonight on Facebook, and the show is also being recorded, so we'll play it again later. I'm trying to think of what other issues I have with my van, but I think that covers it, actually. And the Chrysler that we have, I never thought I would own a Chrysler, but this 300C, it has a 5-point-something in it, Hemi, and yeah, it rides nice, and when you need it to move, it'll throw you in the back seat while it's going away.
Yeah, they're not bad cars.
No, I like it. And I didn't pay much for it, so I like that too, to be honest with you. My first car that I ever owned was a 1958 VW Beetle, and I owned it all the way up until probably about 10 years ago, and then I sold it, and then I found out what they were really worth. I should have never sold it.
Yeah.
My other vehicle was a 1961 21-window VW bus with the rollback top.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought that in a junkyard in Maine for $150. Drove it for years. Drove it down here. Got tired of driving it, and decided that it had an engine problem. And I decided that I would just get rid of it. And so I think it was John's Towing came and picked it up. This was maybe 20 years ago, and I had to pay him $75 to take it away. Then I found out they only made 100,000 of them. And today it's worth about 80,000.
Yeah, because you ain't going to find one.
No. And so, yeah, I can't look things like that up anymore because I just get upset.
Yeah. I think my first car was a Dodge Daytona.
No, I remember.
That only lasted, I think, for about 2 days. My uncle gave it to me. It was my first manual car. So I was driving around his property, learn how to drive stick shift, and I ended up ripping out all the fuel lines, the brake lines, just pretty much everything out from under the car.
Driving over stumps or something?
Well, so my cousins and us, we had like a little circle dirt track, and we would take our go-karts and dirt bikes and four-wheelers out there, and they were like, hey, let's go around the track in the car. So we go down, because he had a bunch of property, and we went down there, and I'm driving around. They said, oh, take this little little cut over through here. Well, that was a jump that they made. And the car went up and then just went straight down.
Ow.
Barely made it back up the hill to the shop. And he goes, what did you do? I'm like, I went down that road, and yeah. and we ended up just trying to, fix it. But he's like, I just completely ruined it. And then I went and bought a 1988 Toyota MR2. And that had a blown motor, so we built that. And I drove that for a while, and then I got mad at it one day because the motor blew up, and I just ended up just junking the thing.
All right.
And then I bought a 1993 Toyota Celica. Drove that for a little bit, and then got in Fox Body Mustangs after that.
And that's where you are now?
No, that I ended up selling. The one I ended up getting two. My father-in-law gave me my first one. I had bought a car, and the car didn't even make it a week. It spun a rod bearing, and so I needed a car. So they had the Mustang, and he offered me the Mustang. So I fixed the Mustang up and drove that for a while. And then when we moved to Florida, I'd sold the black one and bought another one. Had that for a little bit, and then kind of just after I sold that, because she got pregnant, and we had our firstborn son, so I was like, I'm just kind of over it. So
need a little more space.
Yeah, so sold it, and then it's just been different cars over the years.
Yeah. Well, I think I've probably only owned 5 cars so far in my life. And I try to keep them till they're just a rust stain on the ground, and then I get another one. People, we're at 386-251-8100. This is Get Under the Hood Mechanic Show. If you have an issue with a vehicle or a question about a vehicle, Juan's the guy to call in and ask him some questions. So my brother owned I think it was a 68 or 69 Mustang years ago. I had a straight six?
They come with an inline 6, or they came like, I think it was a 289. I think it was.
No, it was a straight six. It was a nice car. Totaled it, but it was a nice car back 1969, and it was some kind of green. I don't remember what, but I'm not big into cars and trucks. When I say that, my view of them is utility. Get me from point A to point B. I don't care what it looks like, as long as it gets me there. I get to work. That's my thing. You know, my wife, on the other hand, she wants cup holders and heated seats and all that stuff. But yeah, that's her, and she can have the creature comforts.
Yeah,
but not me. I'm not into that so much.
Yeah, I don't like the newer cars that are out now. I'm just like, it's just to me, it's too much stuff to go wrong.
Well, they're computers on wheels.
And then what they want now, it's like, like I try when we buy a car, I try to stay with that model like that my parents taught me over the years. You know, buying a car, try to stay within like 20% of what your annual income is. You know, don't go over that.
Right.
You know, and when you look at some of the cars, I'm like, you want $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 for that. Even used, I've seen some used trucks now. I'm just like,
oh, they're crazy.
They got over 100,000 miles and they want 50,000, 60,000 for them.
Yeah,
I'm like,
crazy.
Yeah, no.
I remember back in maybe around 1985, I bought I think it was a Ford F-150. It had a crew cab and a full 8-foot bed and 2 fuel tanks. And brand new off the showroom floor, no radio or anything like that, because like I said, I look at them as a utility vehicle, for $6,000. Yeah. Not like that anymore.
No.
Not like that anymore. Well, people, our phone number is 386-251-8100. If you've got an issue or a thought about a car and you'd like to get a possible answer on what might be wrong with it, give us a call. If you don't have an issue with a car, give us a call anyway. We'll say hi to you. And Thaddeus is watching. Hey, Thaddeus. So probably about 3 days ago, I was over at Home Depot, which is like my home away from home. And there was one of those Tesla trucks. I don't. To me, they're not appealing at all. But the back end of it was open, and I guess whatever the cover is called on the back was slid up, so that the guy was loading sheetrock into it, and it actually fit the 4x8 sheets of sheetrock into the back of it. He probably put 10 sheets in there. And I had been told that these new Tesla trucks, if you try to tow something like a boat or something like that, you only get a range of, the
videos are out there of guys buying these trucks just to show like the tow range. They're not bad if you're on like flat ground,
right?
There's no mountains, but you go to places where you're going nothing but mountains, uphill and downhill. The range, they say 400 or 500 miles. All of a sudden, once you start towing a heavy load, you'll be lucky to make it 80, 90.
That's what I heard. Yeah. That's 80 to 90. What a joke. And how much are those? You can get them at, 80 to 100,000?
Yeah. And then, that's if then you're on a waiting list, and then depending on where you're going, then you got guys that are just buying them just so that they can turn around and flip them, because they're like, hey, well, I got one now, otherwise you got to get on a waiting list, so pay the extra 20, 30 grand or or wait.
I'll let you keep it.
Yeah.
They don't thrill me at all.
No. My brother, he came to visit me a little while back, and he rented I forget what kind of car it was, but it ended up being electric. And he was so mad just trying to find somewhere to charge all the time. And I'm like, why did you rent it? He goes, well, you says you got charging stations everywhere. And I said, we do. I said, but, the car didn't come with like a fast charging plug. So literally all he could do was we go someplace, plug it in. It was saying just to get like 20, 30 miles, it was going to take like 3-4 hours. We had it plugged in at my house, and the range only went up overnight, I think 20 miles.
Really?
Plugged in for over 12 hours.
Yeah. See, that's the problem with all this stuff is and might even be planned. Maybe they don't want us to go anywhere, but they just don't have the technology really
Yeah,
yet
I mean,
to do it.
the Teslas are different. They got their fast charging stations.
Right.
But, unless you live in a city that, has a whole bunch of them and you got somewhere where you're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Right.
Unless you put a fast charging in your house, I don't see the point in it.
No, I don't either. And I'd like to be able to go my 300 miles or so, stop for 10 minutes, fill up and then go again and get to where I want to go. Chrissy says that I should tell you that the Tesla truck looks like a transformer.
No.
She said you'd get a kick out of that. I don't know if it looks like a transformer. It looks like, I don't know what it looks like to me. It looks like a pancake and not a good one.
Yeah.
Phone number, people, is 386-251-8100. That's 386-251-8100. Give us a call if you have an issue with your car or a truck, and we'll see if we can't solve your issue on the air. So, what do you think about the mandate that by 2030, 2035, something like that, all vehicles are supposed to be switched over to electric, the manufacturers? I see the manufacturers backing out of that, but
I think we might end up going hydrogen.
Hydrogen?
Yeah. I mean, Toyota's already probably 20 years ahead of everything already. So is Honda. They already have their engineers already been working on this stuff for years. I mean, there's guys just in their garages at home converting their cars to hydrogen.
Right.
And they're running with no issues.
Right. And clean and burns
and
clean.
burns clean.
Yeah.
So and they make just as much power as if you were on gasoline. So I think we'll probably, the way when you look at how those mines affect everything, where they're just
for the lithium and the cobalt and all that.
Look at when they go on fire. Look at this past hurricane. You got houses down south, Teslas in the garage. All the water literally just got up right below the doors of the cars, and they're bursting in the flames.
Yes.
And you can't put them out. Literally, fire departments, the way they're trained, is literally you just sit there and keep spraying water on it until it just dies.
Burns itself out.
Even after they tow it, you could be mid tow and it could catch back on fire.
Right. Yeah. I was over in Fort Myers after Ian, and the water got pretty deep over in Fort Myers then, and lots of stuff got destroyed. But all over the place, I saw burnt out Teslas.
Yep.
All over the place, there were burnt out Teslas. So not saying Tesla's bad, but they don't take water really well.
No, they don't, and that's the issue. It's just if they get water inside there, it's just once it gets in that panel, you just have live battery connections. It's not like an insulated thing, and it just, once that water hits it, it just sparks and it's just like, your outlet at home. Get water in it, it's gonna start sparking.
Right, and it's all over. Yeah. And with that, you just flip a switch and you can cut the power to your house.
Yeah.
Tesla,
nope.
or any electric vehicle, once those batteries go, there's no shutting that off.
I mean, there's garbage trucks that are electric.
Garbage trucks?
Yes.
What's the mileage on one of those? Those are huge, heavy vehicles.
It depends. So right now, there's a couple places that are running them. I believe there's some local city government cities that are running all electric. There's a lot of ups and downs with it. Your radius is one. Like they'll claim, you can go 200, 300 miles on one charge, but then you have to factor in all the hydraulics working. Some say there's some say there's like 400 or 500, but when you start factoring how many houses you're picking up a day or how many dumpsters you're picking up a day, that then cuts your battery life in half. So they're finding solutions for it. Some are putting bigger batteries. One thing I've seen, like Mac is doing, they're running a diesel engine still to run the hydraulics. So the vehicle's still powered by electric, like your axles, your engine,
Your drivetrain.
is still an electric motor that the vehicle drives. So they maintain their couple 100-mile radius because now they just use a small like 4-cylinder diesel engine to run the hydraulics. So this way it doesn't affect your mile radius.
Right.
But if you got places where you're driving an hour to go to one stop, it's not doable. So it's got to be, if you're buying these, what the garbage company doing, they're buying in an area where that truck's only got a 50-mile or 100-mile radius, because then they can get somewhere to charge. If you got somewhere you're driving an hour one way just to go dump, and then they have different stops all in between, they don't last.
And you had mentioned on the last episode about the trucks, people throwing batteries and stuff in the truck, and then the batteries catch fire and start everything on fire.
It starts everything on fire. Like if you got batteries.
And so if you're an electric vehicle,
yeah.
electric garbage truck, and the contents catches on fire, there's a good chance it's going to heat things up enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, they've designed them pretty well to try to keep them isolated now, so you don't have that issue. But you're still going to have some trash fall somewhere. There's a lot more maintenance now, so it's going to require a lot more people to be more trained on them. On how nobody's just going to be, let me just go over here and change the batteries on it. That ain't happening. If you literally touch one of them batteries the wrong way, you're dead. It's just like, touching a power line or getting struck by lightning.
On the Tesla car, and I don't know which Tesla car model it is, but I saw on YouTube where they were trying to repair one of the batteries, and they opened it up, and there was 7,000 little lithium battery cells. So it's just piles and piles and piles of little batteries that make up the big battery. It's not like some massive battery cell.
It's just little. They look like AA's, some look like AAA's.
Yeah,
and they're just stacked in there. So like you go to places like Tesla, they're like, oh, you gotta replace the whole battery pack. Well, then now you got mom and pop places out there that have figured out, hey, we can repair this. It's usually just one little cell causing it. They isolate it, they take it apart. But like on the Teslas, when you watch the videos, I won't ever own one just because watching those videos, what I see them have to go through to take these things apart.
Oh, yeah.
But, they'll take them apart and they'll sit there and test until they find like that specific pack. And, Tesla's charging you 10, 12 grand, especially once the warranty's up. That's it. What are you going to do when the battery goes bad?
Right. And my son has a Ford Focus, I think it is, that's hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
I like the hybrid idea. That way, you can go on gasoline as well. But I looked into buying one because he gets over 50 miles a gallon, and I thought, wow, that's pretty good before I got my 300C. And the problem is if you're the original owner, whenever the battery dies, and they estimate the lifespan between 60 and 80,000 miles. If you're the original owner, they'll replace the battery the first time. But if you bought it used, too bad. And the new battery replacement's in the neighborhood of $30,000. So it's more than the vehicle's worth.
Yeah, there's companies out there, though, now. People got to look. They got to search, because there are companies out there that make, like for like the Toyotas and Hondas, they make replacement batteries for them that aren't that much. They're probably, say, $3,000 to $6,000. But it's still, it's not cheap. That's why if you have one, you need to find a shop that just specializes in that, because a lot of time they can take it apart and like, it's just this one cell. And it's a lot of work taking it apart. They can take it apart, replace that cell, and put it all back together. Right. And you not spend all that crazy amount of money.
Right. And because at that level, at the OEM replacement, it's worth more than the car.
Yeah, but a lot too, it has to come down to like your maintenance on it. Like Toyotas, they have coolant that flows through them to help try and keep the batteries cool. Well, I think even Tesla, they have their own coolant that flows through there. If you don't change it, remember, it's going through batteries, it's going through acid, it's going all types, so the coolant breaks down. So you have parts that fail. People are like, oh, my light's on for my hybrid battery, or something's wrong. I'm not going to worry about it. I still got the gas engine. Well, eventually that stuff will affect it.
Right.
And, if you don't do the basic maintenance, I mean, I've seen some of these hybrids, have 200,000-300,000 miles still in the original batteries, and they're 10, 12 years old. And it's just because the people all the time took it and had their coolants flushed, changed their oil, just made sure everything was good on it all the time.
Right.
If you don't do it, then, you run into that where you hit 68,000 miles, or, not even. I mean, I've seen them over 150, 160 when they finally have a a battery issue.
Right.
And then, but no maintenance has ever been done.
Hmm.
You know, they've had an issue where, you know, the check engine light's been on, or for check hybrid system because you've had a coolant pump failure. So you're overheating the batteries.
Right. Yeah. Well, heat is the death of electronics.
Yep.
So, I can understand that. Well, it looks like we're almost out of time. We'll give somebody a chance to call here one more time before we sign off. And the phone number is 386-251-8100, 386-251-8100. If you want to answer, or if you have a question on some issue with your car, go ahead and give us a call. Otherwise, here in a minute, we're going to sign off, and we'll see you again next week. But we'll give you a minute to get there. Any last thoughts while we wait for a phone call?
No, just do your basic maintenance. You'll be fine.
Do your basic maintenance. I have a friend that... No. Yellow, you're on the air.
Hey, I know you guys are getting ready to sign off. I just got a quick question.
That's okay. Go ahead.
My little brother was at the bowling alley the other night. He's got a Ford Focus, a newer Ford Focus, and he went to put it in reverse. He backed up, like it backed up for him, and then the car shut off on him, and it would not start back up again. I'm just curious if maybe that could be an alternator problem. I know you guys were just talking about, if like the radiator's bad, it can kind of fry out batteries, and his battery's not messed up. It's just not wanting to start now. So I'm wondering if maybe it could be an alternator problem.
Alternators usually just has to do with your charging system. I mean, I've seen weird stuff like on our trucks with the charging systems affected, other electrical components, but I would stick with checking your starter first.
Is it a hybrid?
No, yes, it is a hybrid, and he does have a leak in his coolant system. He leaks coolant like consistently, so I'm pretty sure there's like a leak in the hose or like maybe a crack in the hose or something.
Mm-hmm.
He constantly has to fill it up, so I wasn't sure if maybe that's connected to it.
Would it shut down if it sensed its leak?
If it senses there's not enough coolant, I've seen there's cars now. If there's not enough coolant, they go into like a limp mode.
Right.
What does it try to do when you try and start it?
It doesn't do anything. It just throws like an error pretty much.
Is it trying to think? There's a lot of stuff so when you turn it doesn't click or nothing.
No, it doesn't do anything. But the battery's not dead because whenever the doors open up, the lights come on, the windows still roll down.
It usually doesn't really mean much sometimes. Sometimes enough juice. Like if you put your headlights on, do the headlights seem dim at all?
No, not at all.
I'd say,
so, and it may have went into limp mode. To be honest with you, now that I think about it, I haven't been over there. I'm just explaining to you what was explained to me. Limp mode sounds kind of right because it would only do certain things.
Yeah, I mean there's so much stuff that can go wrong. So like when you put it in reverse, did it like stumble, like act like it was misfiring, or it just completely shut down?
Yeah, it just completely shut down on him. He took off. He said he went to back up, and it backed up a little bit. But as soon as he got enough gas on it for it to roll backwards, it just completely died on him, and he wasn't able to do anything after that.
And it doesn't won't. So there's no clicking. There's not like a dead sound when you go to hit this key. It doesn't go like click 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 or.
No.
Yeah. So without really, I mean, just like we had one of those callers calling in before, like asking if those little diagnostic readers were great. Unless you scan it and see if there's any codes going on. I mean, you could have a security issue. It could not see the key and shut the car down. Because you have batteries in those key fobs that it's literally a security device. So if it doesn't see the key, it'll shut your whole car down. There's just a lot of stuff that you'd have to check just to see.
Okay, so I guess the first step would be as like a code reader, maybe.
Yeah, like a code reader. If there's any, if the check engine light's on, or usually if there's like a security issue, like with the key, usually you have like a little key fob light that comes on the dash and it's flashing at you that there's an error. That it doesn't recognize the key, so it won't let the car start. Does this have a push button start, or does he actually have to put the key in the ignition and turn it?
He has to put the key in the ignition.
Okay. Yeah.
My van, my backup key for my van is the same as the regular key, but the chip in the key died. So I can unlock the doors with it. I can turn it to, the accessory position, but when I turn to start, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, because it sees the key. There's like a little transponder there where you put the key in. If it doesn't see it, it won't crank. But unless you scan it with the key on and see what if you have any weird codes coming up, usually, I'd say you probably have something like either with a starter issue or, just because the battery, when the lights turn on, it doesn't mean there's enough juice. I've had, vehicles I work on, you think, oh, yeah, well, turn on the key, everything's turned, all the lights turn on, windows go up and down, but there's not usually, sometimes not enough juice, or, I've had it where battery cables have gone bad, but without actually physically looking at it, that's something that's going to be a little difficult to try and diagnose.
Right, I get it. Yeah,
What
we
year
have
is it?
we have a mechanic coming. I believe, now don't quote me on this, but I'm believing it's like an 18, like a 2018.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's an old enough model to have the smart keys with the chip in them. So and honestly, now that you're saying that does sound right for the situation that's going on.
if he has a spare key, have him try his spare key.
If he has a spare key, have him take the spare key out to it, see if it'll do it.
Okay, got it.
Well, thank you for calling.
All right. Yeah,
All right.
Thank you guys very much.
All
a
right.
good one.
Have a great evening. I'm really happy with the way the phone call system is working now. It's loud enough that we can hear it, and they can hear us. We've been working for a while trying to get all the bugs worked out here and get everything set up, and I think finally we're getting there. So, everybody, it looks like we're out of time, and appreciate the calls that we had, and everybody have a great Christmas. Any last words? No? All right. We'll see you later.